How you prioritize your item storage can be crucial in Pokemon Go. Even if you max out your storage space, you still have a very limited amount of items that you can hold on to. Thus, if you are filling your item storage incorrectly, you could potentially lose out on important items or run out of specific items by the time you need them. So in today's video, I wanted to give you a quick guide on how you can properly manage your item storage. I will be telling you which items you should keep, which items you should toss out, and how many of certain items you should keep. The goal of this video is to teach you how to be as efficient as possible when it comes to items. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And how's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. Today I want to give you a comprehensive guide on how you can most efficiently manage your bag space. Now I know a lot of players out there tend to run out of bag space real quickly, and it's because they're not properly managing it. So yeah, if you are looking to get more bag space so you can get more Pokeballs and more revives and different things like that, well, this guide is specifically for you. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm coming at you from the perspective of a non-battler, and I know that many of you are PvPers, and if you PvP, your item distribution is going to look just a little bit different, but I'll touch upon that near the end of this video so that you can make your adjustments accordingly. But for overall, the guide is going to tell you how you can manage your bag space so that you can have enough space for Pokeballs, for raid passes, what have you, and you'll never run out of space. I really hope you enjoyed this guide. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with potions and revives. These are quite an essential item if you are frequently gym battling, raiding, or battling Team Go Rocket. However, very frequently players keep more of these items than they need to. If you are level 30 or higher, regular potions and super potions will very often not completely heal up your Pokemon, and you will more than likely be required to use more than one of these. Thus, my suggestion is that you just simply discard them for hyper potions and max restores. Between max restores and hyper potions, there really is very little difference. The reason why I say this is because for most Pokemon, even at level 40, a hyper potion will heal it up to full. Therefore, I would prioritize either of these and not hold more than 30 of each. Now when it comes to revives and max revives, I would only keep 30 of each of these as well. If you are a frequent raider, then you could probably get away with holding 40 or 50 of each. But at most, I have never needed more than 30 at a time, even if I'm on a full day raid train. This is of course because when you raid multiple raids, you will get revives as you go. So having an excess of these items will only take up unnecessary space. Now let's talk about balls. Without question, these are the most crucial items in your item storage. When it comes to ball distribution, you will want to have as many Ultra Balls and regular Pokeballs as possible. When it comes to Great Balls, you could pretty much delete these, and I'll explain why. Now, why would I keep Pokeballs over Great Balls? Well, Pokeballs are important to keep if you are using a Go Plus or a Pokeball Plus, as these will only use regular Pokeballs. But if you are not using a Pokemon Go Plus, then sure, you can keep a bunch of Great Balls over Pokeballs, especially if your Ultra Ball count is low. But between all three balls, I prioritize the red ones and the yellow ones. The reason why I feel this way is because in any circumstance where I would need to use a Great Ball, I would rather use an Ultra Ball instead. I mean, the less Great Balls you have, the more storage space you will have available to you to hold on to more Ultra Balls. Something that I like to do is go to an area where there are a ton of Pokestops and stock up while using a Go Plus. This not only filters out regular Pokeballs from every Pokestop, because I'm going to be constantly catching with my Go Plus, but it gradually fills up my Ultra Ball count. I keep going until I completely run out of space, then I go into my storage and delete all of the Great Balls that I got, then I keep going. Eventually, you end up with hundreds, if not thousands of Ultra Balls with very few Great Balls and Pokeballs taking up space. You can then use those Ultra Balls during a community day or a big event like Pokemon Go Fest and fast catch with them. Okay, now that we've covered balls, potions, and revives, let's talk about the other generic item that you will get, and that is of course berries. Now for me personally, I prioritize berries differently than most others, and that is because I focus a lot of my gameplay on the buddy adventure system. If you are grinding your buddy Pokemon to best buddies, then you will need to maintain at least 30 Pinap, Nanab, or Raspberries of any type to maximize the number of hearts you get per day. But if you're focusing on multiple buddies per day and try to use every single buddy switch every day, then you will need at least 60. I try not to hold more than 100 total berries at a time, although it's very rare that I ever hit that many berries because I'm constantly feeding them to my buddies. Now, let's say you are not focused on buddy adventure, which many of you probably are not. Well, then you don't really need any berries at all. I would say at most you should keep maybe 15 Pinap berries at a time, considering that occasionally you'll come across a rare Pokemon which you will want more candies for. And of course, with Nanab and Raspberries, you could just delete them. Now when it comes to golden Raspberries and silver Pinaps, I try to hold no more than 30 of these at a time. Much like revives and potions, I will hardly ever need more than 30 if I'm out raiding. And this is probably the only time I ever even use these types of berries in the first place. So often, I see players make the mistake of hoarding up these special berries and never really using them. They then complain that they don't have enough bag space when all they have to do is delete their 200 golden raspberries and only hold on to about 30 of them. But yeah, everyone's playstyle is different, so hold on to as many of these as you think you will need. Also, if you need to get your berry count down, don't forget to feed your gym defenders berries for some free Stardust and experience. I can't tell you how many times players forget to do this. If you do not want to hold on to too many berries, rather than delete them, turn them into Stardust. It's that simple. Okay, now that we got all of the basic items out of the way, let's dive into all of the premium items, starting off with rare candies. Now when it comes to rare candies, I try to never hold any of them at a time. As soon as I get them, I try to use them immediately. While these items are extremely useful, they are typically not hard to come by, so I try to use them as often as I can. This is the most common mistake that I see with players who constantly run out of bag space, thinking that they will one day regret using them and not holding on to them. I mean, you can get rare candies more easily than you think, and they can very easily take up a lot of bag space really fast if you are not using them. If you are constantly running out of bag space, it's probably because you are holding on to too many of these. Since you can get upwards of 15 per legendary raid, 6 in regular raids, a full day of raiding can net you upwards of 100 of these. If you are not using them frequently, you will constantly find yourself without any item space. Here are a couple of ways you could spend your rare candies. If you have holes in your Pokedex, do not hesitate to use rare candies to get enough candies for evolutions. You don't have to wait for a good one, you might as well get the evolution out of the way real quick. If anything, have a specific Pokemon that you can assign as your rare candy dump. This could be a Pokemon like Mewtwo or Rayquaza, where having multiple maxed out versions of these will always help in raids, or you can have it be something like a Gible. Since Gible is a pretty rare Pokemon, it's going to be really hard for you to get candies organically, so why not just dump all your rare candies into a Gible so that you can have enough candies to evolve and max out one once you get a good one. Something that I like to do is plan out the next 10 Pokemon I plan to max out, even if I only have the Stardust to max out maybe 1 or 2. And if I ever run out of Pokemon to max out, then I dump my rare candies onto a Pokemon that I suspect will have a community day. That way I have enough candies to evolve a bunch of them. I mean, what it comes down to is that you should always be dumping your rare candies on something. It doesn't matter what it is, just don't hold on to rare candies because it's only going to take up bag space. Now, other than rare candies, I see many players also hoard as much lures, incense, raid passes, lucky eggs, and star pieces as they can. This is of course because these items can only be obtained through real money purchases. However, it is okay to delete a few of these if they are taking up too much space. For raid passes, I try to use them as often as I can, but if my raid pass count gets a little bit too ludicrous, then I do end up deleting a few of them. I have to constantly remind myself that I am not Brandon Tan and I'm not going to raid 50 to 100 raids per day. I mean, at most, I'll end up spending maybe like 30 to 40 raid passes within a given month. So this is the amount of raid passes that I try to keep, about 30. Now, if you have a ton of lures, use them in random Pokestops even if you don't plan to stay at that stop for the whole duration. Not only does this benefit other players, but it frees up a lot of your bag space as well. Now, when it comes to star pieces, incense, and lucky eggs, I try to make sure that I'm using them every community day and major event. Not only do you not miss out on spawns, XP, and Stardust, you keep your bag space at a manageable level as well. And then finally, among all of the premium items, we gotta talk about TMs. I think this is the one thing that a lot of players tend to hold on to, thinking that they're always going to use them. And it may be because in the past, when it was really hard to get TMs, it was always a problem that you were trying to get a specific move, but because of RNG, you end up running out of charge TMs. So now that we're getting them more frequently, you tend to hoard them. But let me remind you that these TMs are actually pretty easy to come by as long as you're raiding. For every legendary raid, your chances of getting one of these TMs is pretty high, and it's just a matter of patience. If you do not need a certain Pokemon's moveset to be a certain way right now, then you don't really need to hold on to these. I would say at most you should keep about 50 of each, and the reason why I say 50 is that if you are trying to get one Pokemon to get a specific move, it could require maybe about 10 to 15 of these. 50 is the golden number when it comes to TMs, at least for me. I've never needed to use more than 50 of each of these, but I do understand that it could vary for different players, especially those who PvP regularly and they're constantly changing up their moves. So yeah, it all depends on your playstyle. So now that we covered premium items, let's finally take a look at the evolution items. When it comes to evolution items, it's very easy for players to make the mistake of holding on to too many of these. With Sinnoh Stones and Unova Stones, many players tend to think that these items are hardly ever obtained, and in some ways they are correct. However, what they end up doing is taking up more bag space than they possibly need with these items. Realistically, you will only need to hold a maximum of 10 of these. Sinnoh Stones and Unova Stones are certainly pretty important, but by the time you actually need them, you will probably end up picking up about 2 or 3. So don't hold on to these thinking that you'll never get them. You eventually will. Now when it comes to the evolution stones like the Sunstone, Upgrade, Dragon Skill, King's Rock, and Metal Coat, I only hold about 3 of these at a time. You don't even really need to hold on to these because you hardly ever need them. By the time I come across a situation where I need any of these evolution items, I probably would have obtained one anyway. Thus, I find that it is no use to me to hold on to more than 3 of these at a time. If I get any more than 3 of these, then I will delete any excess number of them until my count is 3 of each. You could probably more efficiently manage your item space if you do the same thing too. There really is no reason to hold on to 10 Sunstones because there won't be 10 occasions where you will need 10 Sunstones. Probably 3 at most, but yeah, just go ahead and delete those. So yeah, let's finish this video off with a quick recap. When it comes to potions and revives, you only need hyper potions and max restores, and I suggest you delete every single super potion and regular potion you get, and then you should only hold about 30 of each of these potions. And when it comes to revives and max revives, you only need about 30 of these as well. When it comes to Pokeballs, you will want to get as many Pokeballs and Ultra Balls as possible, and when it comes to Great Balls, you really don't need them, so you can discard them right away. And when it comes to berries, have a total of 30 of each of Pinap, Nanab, and Raspberries if you are working on the Buddy Adventure system, but if you are not, having only 15 Pinap berries at a time and deleting every single Nanab and Raspberry is what you should be doing. When it comes to golden raspberries and silver Panaps, you only need about 30 of each of these. When it comes to premium items, make sure you are free and clear of any rare candies. When it comes to star pieces, incense, and lucky eggs, make sure you're using them as much as you can. If you have more than 50 of these at a time, then you should be using them pretty much every day until you get your count to below 50. When it comes to TMs, I suggest you have less than 50 of each, but of course if you are a battler, you may end up needing more of these, so I do understand that. And then when it comes to evolution items like Sinnoh Stones and Unova Stones, I highly suggest you only have about 10 of each of these, and then when it comes to evolution stones like Sunstone, Upgrade, Dragon Scale, King's Rock, and Metal Coat, only hold 3 of each of these at a time. This is the most efficient way you could utilize your bag space. Again, every single one of these numbers is determined by the amount that you end up using, not so much the amount that you end up needing. So there you have it, everyone. This is my guide for how you can properly manage your bag space. And again, like I mentioned at the top of this video, there is some adjustments you will need to make if you are a PvPer. I would say that when it comes to potions and revives, you have about 50 of each as opposed to 30 of each, mainly because if you are going out and doing Team Go Rocket battles for those PvP Pokemon, you will need more of those potions and revives. And then of course with charge TMs and fast TMs, you will need a little bit more of those as well because you'll be frequently switching up moves. I would say you should have about 60 of each as opposed to 50. That extra 10 will definitely help. But that's going to be it for this video. Definitely share your thoughts down below. Are you properly managing your bag space and how are you doing it? Let me know down in the comment section below. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. Be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you all later.